I go to gun school a lot. Why? Because I quit my job in 2018. And when I did, I was like, look, I just work solo with Asp now, and I told my wife, I was like, hey, I don't have a job no more, so I'm gonna train like it's my job. And she said, pay your bills, pay your staff, pay me my salary, and don't borrow no money. And I was like, remember you said that. Went on a bit of a training tear, okay?
Throwing targets are lightweight, weatherproof, take thousands of rounds of shooting, and make shooting fun. Pick up a set for your next range trip.
I spent 9 years teaching undergraduates and graduate students as well. So teaching is my core competency. So I taught in the Bible and Theology department at Arizona Christian University for 9 years, taught Phoenix Seminary for 5. Now, if you go on my, if those of you who don't know me, go find Active Self-Protection on YouTube. You'll find about 2,500 real-life defensive encounters there that we've analyzed for lessons learned. And they're free and available for everyone. We have a second channel called Active Self-Protection Extra. About 200,000 people on there. Just cracked 200,000 a couple weeks ago. And there we teach handgun skills, legal and moral self-defense. We do some gear reviews. I don't do a ton of gear reviews. There's a couple other great instructors on there. Neil Widener, who's one of the best firearms instructors in America, is on that channel. Brian Hill, one of the best firearms instructors in America there, okay? And to get those 2,500 that are on the channel, I've analyzed somewhere around 40,000 defensive encounters for lessons learned. I'm literally, as crazy as it sounds, I'm literally the probably national subject matter expert on what really happens in defensive gunfights.
By the way, John, welcome to Sao Paulo del Norte.
Yes, Sao Paulo del Norte. It's great. I swear we went and got Cajun last night, and I thought for sure we were going to get in a gunfight going over to that joint, man. Whew, it was crazy, but. Yes, so people ask me why Houston's on the channel so much. I don't think it's because Houston is necessarily such a rough town. I think it's because your guys' robbery division puts a lot of videos out looking for bad guys. So guess what? They're doing a good job using their social media, and I'm subscribed. That's why I said Houston shows up so much, is what is up with that. So that's me a little bit, okay? So the YouTube channel has about 2.6 million subscribers right now, has 1.3 billion lifetime channel views. When it comes to self-defense, there's not another channel in the world like it. I'm literally the only person I know doing it as a regular basis. Donut Operator occasionally does the occasional badge cam, but he's an entertainer, not an educator. And I don't say that's a bad thing either. That's not disparaging. It's just he's just an entertainer. And so that's what he does, whereas I'm an educator. So that's a little bit about me and why I'm teaching you this stuff. Now, in terms of our training, here's the 3 R's. I want to make sure that you get this. The reason that I bring this presentation to you today is to educate. I'm an educator at my core. I feel like great education should be entertaining too. If you add entertainment to a great education, it helps you remember it. But in your training, you got to have the 3 R's. It must be recent, relevant, and realistic. And what do we mean by that? Number one, if you're not training regularly, there's a half-life to knowledge. And it will go away no matter what. You know that old thing that they say, well, it's like riding a bike, you never forget. Let me ask you, anybody here ever take 20 years off from riding a bike and try to get on a bike? How'd that go? Yeah, you get a little wobbly wibbly, right? Like all of a sudden you're like, I know how to ride a bike, doink. Yeah, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, I thought riding a bike was something you never forgot. Not true. If it's not recent, you can forget those skills, even something as rudimentary as riding a bike. So recent training is better than training far back. And I don't even care how great that training was. Quite frankly, you could be a Navy SEAL and spend 6 years on the SEAL teams and do operations and kick in doors, shoot people in the face, and then you stop and you get out and you don't do nothing for 10 years, your skills are going to be almost gone. Now, not like you never did was, but certainly won't be what they were. So recency really matters. Next, it has to be actually relevant, and it has to be relevant to you and your mission. I get this all the time. I just put up a video on Active Self-Protection Extra, went up on Wednesday. How many reloads should a private citizen carry? And I did that on purpose to chat posteriors, okay? We call those ASP bits, and BIT stands for butt hurt inducing truths. And I said up front, I don't care. I'm not gonna be at your gunfight. I don't live your life. Carry as many as you want. But I said, first and foremost, your mission has to determine what your gear is. And where do we get the idea that a private citizen needs to carry 3 spares? Or 2 spares? We get it from cops that teach private citizens CCW. Is the mission of a police officer the same as a mission of a private citizen? No, it's a very different mission. We'll talk about that as we go through here. But the training that you use must be relevant to what you're doing. Now, I'm going to tell you, for instances like that, does it always have to be relevant? No. I remember a couple years ago, I took a 4-day team arm movement in structures and a structure assault class. So it's basically cops warrant serving with rifles class. Multiple people, we worked in 2, 4, and 8-man teams. It was super fun. I had a blast, and it's totally tactical fantasy band camp. Because I'm never doing that. I don't wear plate carriers and helmets. I'm not running teams with rifles, breaking in, kicking doors and finding people to shoot in the face. It's not my life. There's no relevancy to what I'll really do, but it was super fun. We had a great time, and then they loaded us up. It was in Alliance, Ohio, and the city of Alliance owns they've repossessed a couple houses that were used for cooking meth, and they use them for structure assault out in the neighborhood. So they load us all up in these big white vans and drive us out there at night to do structure assaults. We're like, somebody's gonna call the real cops, guys. You know what they said? We are the real cops. And you all aren't, but we are, so it's okay. All right, let's go assault the structure. Force on force, Sims. But generally speaking, our training should be relevant. It should focus on what are the things that I actually need to know? What are the things I actually have to do? And the reason that I'd strongly encourage you to get relevant training is because you probably don't have enough time and you don't have enough budget to waste it. Now, if you're like me and you're unemployed and you make money going to gun school by filming it and putting it on the YouTubes, train anything your heart doth desire. But otherwise, if you go, hey, I can only take one class this year. I can afford 1 8-hour day of training this year. It better be relevant to what you're doing. And the last one needs to be realistic. It could be very relevant, but your data on what the problem you're going to face won't be. And if it's not the realistic threat that you're actually looking to face, then the answers that you get will probably be the wrong ones. And I see this sometimes in force-on-force training. I love doing force-on-force. By force-on-force, we mean usually everybody dresses up with a helmet on and padded clothes, and instead of real guns, they're guns that are shooting simunitions at you. They're shooting Skittles at you at 300 feet per second. Okay? And a lot of force-on-force training are so unrealistic scenarios of getting attacked by a gang of ninja in pitch blackness. And you're like, first of all, if I'm getting attacked by a gang of ninja, or like you're in your home and all of a sudden 9 guys can converge on your home, like if I'm living in Johannesburg, South Africa, maybe. Even here in Sao Paulo do Norte, not going to be the case, right? And instead you go, wait, what are the realistic things? Now on the other side of that it's not really a big deal. We hear myths like, well, John, the average gunfight is 3 rounds at 3 yards in 3 seconds. Anybody ever heard that? Well, the average gunfight's only 3 yards, 3 seconds, 3 rounds. Zero basis in reality for that assertion. And so if that's what you train for, you're training for an unrealistic scenario.